Greetings, parents and community members. The purpose of today's presentation is to inform you of the enhancements that are occurring in education as a result of the adoption of the Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. The following presentation will review how these rigorous learning expectations will impact English language arts, mathematics, social studies, science, and our career technical and agricultural education courses. What is the purpose of the Common Core State Standards? Essentially, they will provide a common set of standards that include the knowledge and skills students should acquire within their kindergarten through 12th grade education so that they will graduate from high school fully prepared for college without the need for remediation and fully equipped to transition into their careers. This slide answers the question, what are the Common Core Georgia Performance Standards? They include the Common Core State Standards, which were adopted by over 40 states, and they provide a set of common college and career anchor standards that define what students must know and be able to demonstrate upon graduating from high school. These expectations were added to our current Georgia Performance Standards, which were written by teachers across the state of Georgia and outline what Georgians should master upon graduation. Together, they comprise the Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. This slide shows a comparison of our current English language arts learning domains versus the learning domains under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. The first column includes reading and literature, reading across the curriculum, writing, conventions, listening, speaking, and viewing. Under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards, the reading and literature and reading across the curriculum are combined to equal the reading strand, which includes literary text and informational text. The writing under GPS continues to be the writing under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards with a special emphasis on argumentative and informational writing. Conventions become language under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards, and the listening and speaking, viewing transition to speaking and listening, and the viewing expectation falls under reading. This slide shows how the standards progress as students advance from one grade to the next. This example is a writing standard for grades kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. In kindergarten, students are expected to use a combination of drawing, dictating, and writing to compose opinion pieces in which they tell the reader the topic or the name of the book they are writing about and state an opinion of preference about the topic or book. In first grade, the expectation is that they write the opinion piece in which they introduce the topic or name the book they are writing about, state an opinion, supply a reason for the opinion, and provide some sense of closure. Notice, in first grade, the expectation was to supply a reason and to provide some sense of closure. And as they transition to second grade, in addition to just writing the opinion piece and stating an opinion, they supply reasons that support the opinion. They use linking words such as because, and, also, and they provide a concluding statement or section. So again, all of the Common Core Georgia Performance Standards are written so that students' knowledge and skills progress as they advance from one grade to the next. This slide displays the shift in Lexile expectations. Lexiles measure a student's current reading abilities or the difficulty level of a text, book, article, or document. The first column lists the grade levels. The second column lists the current reading level expectations. The final column shows the reading expectations under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. Notice the largest shifts occur as students transition from 5th grade to 6th grade and from middle school to high school. Therefore, Our students will be expected to read and comprehend more complex levels of text so that they are ready to meet the demands in college and career. There are also standards that are shifting from our high school and middle school levels to our elementary levels. This slide shows an example of an 11th grade standard transitioning to 7th grade. So the student previously in Georgia Performance Standard was learning this standard as an 11th grader, and now he or she we expected to learn and master and apply this standard in the 7th grade. And our district is working hard to ensure we build in those transitional support for our students to be able to master these more complex expectations. This final slide shows a comparison of what students were expected to do in the classroom under Georgia Performance Standards and how they will be expected to show mastery under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. So let's look at the first task to the left. And this is from the I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King. Currently under Georgia Performance Standards, students will rewrite Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech in their own words to express what their dream of America should be today. Students will create their own I Have a Dream speech using technology as an individual or group. So that represents our current expectation for showing mastery. Next year, under Common Core Georgia Performance Standards, this task looks slightly different. Students will determine the purpose and point of view in Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech and analyze how King uses rhetoric to advance his position. The first example, they're writing and creating. The second example, they're analyzing, and they're using that to support their final conclusion of the speech. So again, you see the rigorous expectations that our students will confront next year with the rollout of the Common Core Georgia Performance Standards. Now, let's look at how the Common Core Georgia Performance Standards will impact social studies.
When we speak to transitioning to the Common Core in social studies, it's first important to remember that the content of the K-12 social studies curriculum will not change as we transition to Common Core. Teachers are going to be continuing to use the Georgia Performance Standards that they have been using since that's transition in 2006. You can find more information about the Georgia Performance Standards for Social Studies at www.georgiastandards.org. The real key when we look at transitioning to the Common Core is not the content that we teach, but the way that the material is presented to our students. And the emphasis is really going to be on literacy and writing across the curriculum. And you can certainly find more information about this change at www.corestandards.org. So when we talk about literacy and writing across the curriculum and we look specifically at social studies, there's a few things that we're going to really target in our classrooms. The first is analyzing and evaluating primary and secondary sources. The second is writing to learn. The expectation is in our social studies classes, as our students receive the content, they will be able to write about it and really critically think about those processes. The third thing is information processing skills. So our students are going to be able to critically analyze and use map and globe skills successfully, taking us right into that next piece there. Finally, two pieces that really go together in our social studies classroom as we move into Common Core. We're really going to be focusing on helping our students develop arguments. They need to be able to think for themselves, structure an argument, and then engage in constructed debate. And these are skills that are not only necessary for them to be successful in social studies, but also for them to be college and career ready. And that's really the bottom line when it comes to transitioning to the Common Core in social studies. Now, let's move into a look at how Common Core will affect mathematics.
Well, first, the K-5 standards provide students with a solid foundation in whole numbers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, and decimals. The most notable shift in K-5 mathematics is the introduction of algebra in grades 1 and 2. While previously algebra has been taught in grades 3, 4, and 5, it has not been taught in grades 1 and 2. So along with whole numbers addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, and decimals, students in grades 1 and 2 will now have to work with algebra and algebraic expressions. In the middle school, standards will be built upon those K-5 standards in preparation for high school, and high school will emphasize mathematical modeling, the use of mathematics, and statistics. All of our K-12 standards will not only stress procedural skills, but also a conceptual understanding of the content. To develop a conceptual understanding of the math content, teachers will emphasize literacy-based strategies, technology integration, and activities that promote critical thinking. This slide shows how one standard in particular will shift between grade levels. As you see, there was a 9th grade standard, and this standard will now transition to the 6th grade under Common Core GPS. Students will explore variability of data by determining the mean absolute deviation, which is the average of the absolute values of the deviations. Because the mathematics is shifting at each grade level, students will now have to perform more rigorous activities than previously noted in the GPS curriculum. These differences or these shifts have implications for classroom instruction, assessment, professional development, curriculum materials, and leading for learning. How is the new math curriculum different from the old math curriculum? Years ago, under the traditional curriculum, we were taught Algebra 1, geometry, Algebra 2, Algebra 3, and trigonometry. The curriculum was more objective-based, telling what students should know. Now, the curriculum is based on GPS and is broken up into several math domains: number and operations, algebra, geometry, data analysis and probability or statistics. This curriculum provides a balance amongst concepts, skills, and problem solving. Under Common Core, we still will implement the GPS, but now the standards are aligned with college and work expectations and will include more rigorous content and application of knowledge through higher order skills. How will Common Core GPS change math instruction? Again, in the traditional curriculum, students were simply given the slope and had to write an equation. Under GPS, they were given a word problem such as the one you have in front of you and had to write an equation. Now, under Common Core, not only will they have to write an equation, but they will also have to explain their mathematical reasoning. In essence, teaching shifts from memorization under our traditional QCC curriculum to memorization plus application under our GPS curriculum, and now as we transition to Common Core, teaching will be based on memorization plus application plus explanation. Common Core GPS will look very different for our high school. So what is the new high school math sequence under Common Core? In 2012-2013, high school mathematics will be taught only to rising 9th grade students. The current high school students will remain on the GPS track. Let me emphasize that. Any child who currently has high school credit will continue to learn their math curriculum on the GPS track. Any student who will be new to high school starting the 2012-2013 school year will follow the Common Core GPS track. This slide shows you the implementation phase for the Common Core GPS high school math courses. Next school year, during 2012-2013, we will embed coordinate algebra to the high school curriculum. The following year, we will offer both coordinate algebra and analytic geometry. The year after that, during 2014-2015, we will offer coordinate algebra, analytic geometry, and advanced algebra. And by 2015-2016, we will implement all of our high school math Common Core GPS courses. Now, let's take a look at how we will transition K-12 science.
Clayton County science curricula will be revised to offer a unique focus on informational text and the use of science exploration as an authentic experience for literacy learning. There are Common Core standards for English language arts and science and technical subjects that require our students to demonstrate mastery and integrate those skills through reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Our students must now hone their skills for researching, collecting data, presenting evidence to support and defend areas of study in their science classroom. Students will engage in science literary reviews to connect current advancements and issues in science and technology to the conceptual knowledge being developed in our science classroom. Activities in the science classroom will have an increased focus on writing in science. The topics of study will be aligned to the content being taught in the classroom and reinforce the writing genres of the English language arts classroom. They will probe to assess pre-existing knowledge. The writing will be a vehicle for students to demonstrate their understanding of the concepts being taught, and they will be a tool to reinforce learning while refining writing skills. Laboratory experiences allow students to manipulate variables in a controlled environment so that they can better understand the cause and effect relationship that exists in the world around them. Experimentation teaches students to ask questions, make predictions, and present arguments that are grounded in evidence and on natural phenomena. Balanced assessments provide teachers and students with multiple methods to determine mastery of learning and areas of deficits, while ensuring that students can not only display knowledge and skills related to the concepts taught, but demonstrate behaviors that are relevant to the learning expectations. Now, let's take a look at how CTAE will be impacted by the transition to Common Core.
Connecting Common Core to CTAE and technical subjects, we want to give you a quick overview of Common Core and CTAE. CTAE takes real-world experiences in the classroom to connect and enrich learning. It makes a difference not only in math, science, and social studies, but in our literacy subjects as well. CTAE provides students with opportunities to learn core academics and valuable workforce skills. It's in a very engaging way. CTAE links what students learn in the classroom with what they need to succeed in the real world. Let's take a look at the College and Career Ready Anchor Standards in Reading. College Career Readiness Anchor Standards for Reading in grades 6 through 12 define what students should understand and be able to do by the end of each grade span. These are observable and measurable skills, and the understandings that students must be able to demonstrate. The first one would be key ideas and details. The second, craft and structure. Third, integration of knowledge and ideas. Fourth, range of reading and the level of text complexity. Now, how might your student be assessed? Through demonstrations, presentations, performances, and even oral assessments. Let's take a look at the College and Career Readiness Anchor Standards in Writing. These anchor standards are for grades 6 through 12 as well. They define what the student should be able to do by the end of each grade span. These are, again, observable and measurable skills and understandings that students must demonstrate. The first being text types and purposes. The second, production and distribution of writing. Third, research to build and present knowledge. Fourth, range of writing. How might they be assessed here? Demonstrations, presentations, performances, and oral or written tests. Here's a glimpse of an actual lesson plan for 6th grade CTAE Animal Science. Students have to read about an animal antibiotics controversy online. Students may then find other sources on their own and prepare a one-page report in favor or against the use of animal antibiotics. The Common Core Reading Standard allows the student to distinguish among facts, reasoned judgment based on research findings, and speculation in a text. The Common Core Writing Standard allows the student to write arguments focused on discipline-specific content. How is Clayton County Public Schools preparing for Common Core GPS? Common Core redesign for grades K through 12, literacy across the curriculum, and rigorous, relevant, and ongoing professional development. For more information regarding the Common Core Performance Standards, please visit www.georgiastandards.org.